For the first time in its history, the Eastern Airways British F1 Sidecar Championship crosses the water to the Cathedral of Speed. That's the local name for the famous TT circuit at Assen. We're here for round 7 of the championship. 2 weeks ago, though, we were at Donington Park, where, for the championship leaders, things did not go according to plan. Two-thirds of the way through the season, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, number 49, needed to get good results here, and they certainly looked good at the start in the sunshine here at Donington Park, but Sean Hegarty and Callum Lawson were always going to be a threat. Hegarty, having come into the championship halfway through the season, was strong. Of course, the man pushing hard, Scott Lorry and James Neve, the number 72 outfit, they are right there in second place in the championship, and they needed to score big points. And frankly, Scott Lorry rode his heart out. Mark Edwards, Lee Barrett, things did not go according to plan for them. They were quickly sidelined, and Hegarty too encountered a problem. Callum Lawson with his hand up, signalling that they were retiring. Gary Horsepole and Rob Biggs as well, another retirement. Still though, Lovelock and Lawrence, a tap on the back from Rick Lawrence, and there's a problem here. They slowed, and it turned out to be fuel. Rick Lawrence desperately trying to swill around the remaining dregs. Fancy running out of fuel. I can tell you, James Neve absolutely thrilled with that. Lorry and Neve took the win, and limping home on the smell, Lovelock and Lawrence, they were lucky to stay second. For race 2, they needed to make no mistake this time, but it was Scott Lorry from the pole position who took the early lead. John Clark, riding with a degree of discomfort, slotted in well at Redgate as well, and it was a full grid and a packed house here. A big shunt involving Ian Drown and Gary Smith took them both out of the running at Redgate. The race went on though, and it was a good run for Hegarty and Lawson from the back of the grid. They had to make amends for that DNF. It was a loose mudguard in actual fact, which had caused their retirement. The mudguard stay slipped onto the front wheel, and they were forced to retire, as you saw. But further down the order, a terrific scrap between John Clark and Craig Chaplow. Another Craig, Nickel, retired, the number 88 outfit. Reuterholt and Hegarty locked horns for several laps. The piercing eyes of the Swede, and another retirement for Lovelock and Lawrence. What was it to be this time? Not a good day at Donington Park for the championship leaders, but double tops then for Scott Lorry and James Neve. They came home to seal a second consecutive victory. Marching on in the points table, a good day's work for them, and that's how it looked. Look how close they are, just 26 points off the lead now. Lovelock and Lawrence will need to turn the wick up for the next round. Holland slipping away there in third, Reuterholt 99. Barry James, of course, we haven't seen him since the midpoint of the season. Bygrave and Napton on the BMW slipping further backwards down the order. Steinhausen and Clues, well, we're going to see them, aren't we? Gary Smith, after a stunning ride at Brands, well, what a shame he had that shunt. Further down the order, then most of these guys are occasional and not consistent riders. That double win by Scott Lorry really puts him in touch with the championship lead. Add to that, 4 times world champion Tim Reeves is now back here for the last 3 rounds. So on this 2.8-mile Assen circuit, it's all to play for. Let's have a look then at what's ahead of these guys today. Well, it is a fantastic, I hate to keep using the word iconic, but how else can you describe a wonderful circuit like Assen? The last time I was here was way back in 1987, would you believe, in Wayne Gardner's championship year in Grand Prix. I was doing commentary on that occasion for Channel 9 Australia. But let's get back to the sidecar action here, and you can see just how flowing this circuit is. Well used as well. Lots of black marks across the rumble strip. It's late in the day here. The sun is low, and with the rises and dips, you would think it's flat, Assen, but in actual fact, it's constantly moving. There are rises, there are cambers. It's well known for its cambers on this circuit, and it takes a lot of memorizing. It's a long way round here, And a lot of these riders, in fact, dare I say, most of the Sidecar crews here will be seeing Assen for the first time. The sun low in the sky, glinting on the tarmac, and you can see just how difficult it will be. Cloudless sky, though. Marshals ever attentive, and British Superbike here at Assen for the very first time, as indeed the Eastern Airways British F1 Sidecar Championship. As you know, we are running with British Superbike throughout the 2012 season and ongoing. Fast, straight, just with a little kink here, and you can understand why it takes so much to learn. Probably by the end of play on Sunday night, most of the crews will know their way around here. Into the grandstand area, the little chicane before the start-finish line. It's a long lap, and it's going to be fun. The name LCR has become synonymous with the world of sidecar racing. 42 years ago, in the town of Rheineck in Switzerland, Lewis Christen built his first racing car, and that was the moment Lewis Christen Racing, or LCR, was born. In 1976, the first racing sidecar outfit was built, and the first GP victory for LCR came just 3 years later. In the years that followed, LCR became the choice of champions, with two men in particular helping Lewis Christen Racing to over 20 world titles. Rolf Bieland and Steve Webster became true ambassadors for the brand. Lewis Christen's unique engineering skills have often been copied but never bettered. Our Spotlight feature this week takes a closer look at what makes an LCR so special. Carol McBride picks up the story.
I'm here with Ian Guy and Andy Peach, who have the wealth of experience of LCRs and were lucky enough to be around when we made the jump from the tubular chassis to the LCR. Ian's a bit of a paddock boffin, and I'm here to ask him about Louis and why he made the jump from the racing cars to building the LCR.
Well, I say lucky enough to be around. Does that mean I'm old? Right. No, my experience of sidecars growing up watching the Grand Prix of the late 70s, early 80s, and it was a great technical development in sidecars at that time. A lot of really good engineers were bringing car technology into sidecar racing, and talking through the history with Louis, he got approached by one of the Swiss riders to build a chassis that was capable of matching the then dominant sort of same-as outfit that was built by another Swiss guy. So Louis transferred the knowledge that he'd had from building the racing cars into building his first sidecar, and that sidecar actually won a Grand Prix the following year with Bruno Holzer. So from then on, Louis was hooked into this crazy sport, as he calls it, and of course all the top riders suddenly took notice of LCR and how that could then develop. And it got to a point in the mid-80s where there was no competition. The new chassis that LCR had built were just so dominant on the continental GP circuits that you had to have one.
So Ian, why has Lewis been more successful than other manufacturers in particular?
I think it's the approach that Louis brought to the sport in mass manufacturing parts for sidecars, whereas previously bikes were made in people's back gardens, one at a time, pretty much one-offs. So if you needed a new part, you had to take it back to have it rebuilt. Louis, you can phone Louis up, he's got a part on the shelf for every bike he's ever made, and it's delivered within 2 days and you're back out racing, and I think that's really where his success lies.
We just heard from Ian how Louis made the jump from car racing to sidecars. I'm just going to catch up with Andy to find out what makes the bike itself so special. So Andy, can you tell us a bit about the chassis?
Well, following on from what Ian was saying, basically you can build it as a kit. This whole section, if you had a crash, is basically glued and riveted on, so you could physically take that whole part off. Louis would send you a new part, put it back on, and you could be racing the same day, really. So it's quite sort of like an Airfix kit, really. But that's a unique bit from going from the one-off to the sort of mass manufactured, really.
And in terms of actually how the bike's constructed itself, how different was that from the original sort of tubular chassis that we used to race?
Well, these are actually hollow inside here. It's made of aircraft aluminium, which is very light and flexible, so they actually flex a lot when they're being used, which is part of its sort of suspension and way it works. But within this monocoque bit, everything is sort of encased. You basically got the front suspension there, all the electronics are in here, and then you have a fuel cell within there, and then round at the rear we've got the rear suspension that's enclosed as well.
And in terms of the tubeless chassis as well, the steering was different, wasn't it, at the front?
Yes, that was the big sort of development really, because if you can look at this front, it steers what they call centre hub. So the wheel is keeping flat at all times. On the tubular chassis, they had a pair of forks that came down there, similar to a motorcycle but on a smaller scale. But as you turn the steering, the wheel actually tipped, so you ended up with maybe 3/4 of the tyre on the surface of the track, whereas here the wheels kept flat all the time, so more front grip basically.
Brilliant, thanks very much, it's great.
I'm here with John Lawson of Lawson Road Planing, whose son Callum actually passengers Sean Hegarty in the outfit that's behind us. Now, there's hardly a week goes by in this paddock when John Lawson doesn't help someone financially. First of all, John, your company, Lawson Road Planing, what's that about?
Well, we're predominantly a surfacing company, but we do the road playing as well, as long as civil works. Pretty much the same line of work that Mr. Hegarty does.
Now, you've got a very deep interest in the sidecar paddock. How did you first develop that interest? Where did it start?
Well, Barry, you're going back a lot of years there. I can remember going to Cadwell Park as a young guy on the back of a Honda 90 with my father, and we always had to stop for the last race of the day, the sidecar racing. The likes of the Steve Abbotts, Websters, Jock Taylors, very many happy memories of those early days.
Yeah, we've talked about Steve Webster before, you know, a real ambassador for our sport. Now, did you actually ride at any time?
Yeah, that's actually how Callum got into the sidecar racing. I had got myself a Formula 2 MR equipped chassis, and we raced at club racing with the Derby Phoenix, and he started with me when he was 16 years old.
He's buzzing, isn't he? I mean, he's at the right age, he's enthusiastic. This ride he's got now, they're just going from strength to strength. Unbelievable, almost.
First time together to go turn up at Brands Hatch, a double victory. The first time on the bike together was just amazing. They've just bonded together so well, and such a good team to be with. Lovely people, relaxed, really enjoying the racing.
John, I know I'm not talking out of turn. On behalf of all the paddock, I want to thank you for what you've done.
Well, I appreciate that, Barry, but what a fantastic sport it is. Spectacular to watch. I cannot think of any other sport where two people have to work so closely together to make it happen.
Family thing, isn't it?
It is, it's fantastic.
Tim Reeves, Ashley Halls, first of all, gentlemen, congratulations on your 4th World Championship, Tim. That must feel good.
Yeah, it does. Thanks very much. Yeah, it was the hardest one to win without a doubt. I mean, there was 4 of us that went into the final round with 5 points covering us, so it was winner take all really. And luckily, we were the ones that kept our head the best and saved their tyres until the end, and we came out on top. So yeah, over the moon.
Ashley, debut season with this man, a bit of a dream year, is it fair to say?
Very much, yeah. Going into Magny-Cours, I never expected to get on the podium full stop in the first round, and every round finished on the podium. Had our points, you know, taken away from us at Schleitz, but we fought back in Le Mans, best qualifying we've ever had, and it just gave us a boost. And just, you know, Tim done what he had to do, does all the, you know, looks after his tyres and just holds the pace up, and that's what we did, and it came out on top. So.
Brilliant result. Tim, here at Assen, you've now got 3 rounds, as I said, of the British Championship to do. 6 races, double points at the last round. You're on pole position here with an incredible time, over a second faster than anybody else. I understand that's a new lap record too.
Yeah, it's good. Everything, you know, we've come back from winning the World Championship, we're on a bit of a high, and we've come here, and it's nice to be able to support the last 3 rounds, and we're totally relaxed, and we're just enjoying riding the bike. And I think if you can be relaxed and enjoy riding the bike, the quicker times come. So yeah, we've got no pressure. We don't have to win. We're just here for fun, and you know, if we win, it'll be great. If not, we're not too worried.
I never believe it when Tim Reeves says I'm not too worried. Never does a man take his racing more seriously. Pole position, lap record time 1:42.6. Steinhausen alongside him. We featured the British crews in the Eastern Airways Championship here. There are a lot of Dutch entries, but with the greatest respect to them, Benny Stroyer, the reigning Dutch champion, is there alongside our own Ben Holland, who qualified 7th. And there you see Horsepole and John Holden. Well, the sun's in and out like a cuckoo clock. Right now, it's shining, and let's hope it stays that way for the race. We're going to take a short breather, The next time you see me will be on the grid for race 1. So don't go away. I'll see you there. Welcome to the grid then for race 1. This is a 12-lapper, and I can tell you, the battle for the championship is on these 2 rows here. Row 3, series leaders Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. They've got that points advantage, but they're going to be coming under real pressure from Scott Lorry and James Neve, who are second in the championship. Johan Reuterholt, Aki Alto, they're right here on row 2. 4th place qualifying for them. Double winners at Brands. Sean Hegarty, Callum Lawson, they're going to go well here at Assen. They know the circuit. He's been here many times before. Back from World Championship duty, runners-up in the World Championship, Jörg Steinhausen and Greg Clues on the BMW. They qualified second. They'll be pushing very, very hard. But the 4 times now world champions, Tim Reeves, Ashley Hawes, pole position with a 1:42.6, an unbelievably quick time. Is anybody going to beat Tim Reeves this weekend? 12 laps then, very fast. The sun's out. Let's go. This is one of the strongest I've seen Tim Reeves. The 2012 season, this man can do no wrong. Hegarty, very much a surprise package from mid-season, and the BMW of Jörg Steinhausen, 170 horsepower out of the crate. Expect that to be quick here at Assen. Just watch the lights. It is, as customary, late in the day, or when these sidecar races get off towards the end of the program. In the middle of the picture, Johan Reuterholt, Aki Alto being muscled out of that 4th place by Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson, the number 4 Suzuki, and they're sitting nicely in 4th. Right with them has gone Lovelock and Lawrence, but who got the drop at the start? Tim Reeves, Ashley Hawes from Steinhausen, then it's Hegarty, Andy Peach, then it's Lovelock, then it's Reuterholt, Ben Holland, and everyone pussyfooting round here, just taking it cautiously. 12 laps is a long way to go. Reeves and Hawes lead, and already they've got something like 5 sidecar outfit lengths. The sidecar wheel just kissing the tarmac there. Ashley Hawes, fairly diminutive. None of these passengers are real heavyweights. They need to be agile. They need to be able to move around. Greg Clues, probably the number 39 BMW passenger, the tallest of all the sidecar passengers, doing a good job. John Holden there, and now we get among the Dutch. This is a real, I can tell you, the Dutch outfits, they've got their top 14 championship runners in this, and they are not going to feature because the British boys are quick. The fastest of the Dutch men, Benny Stroyer, poised to lift the 2012 Dutch Championship, and they will score points for their own championship within this race, but we're going to focus on our boys, Lovelock and Lawrence. This is where the battle is now. Looking at the back end of Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson going through on the inside. No, not on your Nelly, says Mr. Peach. The last of the late breakers, Andy Peach. Sometimes he goes in a little bit sideways to scrub the speed off. Johan Reuterholt, Aki Alto, pressing hard as well. So the series leader, number 49, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, know very well that in these last 3 rounds, they have to bring this outfit home and score high points, because Scott Lorry, there he is, number 72, Scott Lorry and James Neve, locked in a tussle with Ben Holland and Lee Watson, who are fighting through as well. So Holland past Reuterholt. We have a red flag, an incident somewhere on the circuit, and we have a premature stoppage. Oh dear, Mark Edwards upside down, and Roy Farmer was holding down the 3rd wheel for him this weekend. Lee Barrett, Mark Edwards' regular passenger, unable to get a passport to travel, so Roy Farmer, who normally rides with Rod Robinson, they've turned turtle, so they'll be excluded, and we now basically have a sprint race. It's as you were, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a short, sharp dash. Whatever they did before counts for naught, but it's Reeves again in front. Steinhausen coming under pressure, and it's Hegarty slots into second place this time. Sean Hegarty, Callum Lawson straight into second. So the German-French pairing down in third. Andy Peach there in fourth. They're in fifth place, Lovelock Lawrence. Then it's Reuterholt Alto. Then it's Ben Holland, the yellow and black Rymore Engineering Suzuki, who's ahead of Scott Lorry and James Neve, number 72. Second place in the championship. Need to do something strong here at Assen if they're going to get any sniff of the title in 2012. The 4 times world champion then, Tim Reeves, in a class of his own, I have to say, here this weekend at the moment. Steinhausen and Clues have got past Hegarty and Lawson. They're up to second. So the BMW pairing in second place, but they cannot afford to let Tim Reeves get away. Hegarty and Lawson, they've been the revelation of the 2012 Eastern Airways British F1 Sidecar Championship season. And it's good to see that Sean Hegarty is inspired. He's already committed to returning in 2013, and we need him. Look at this battle then for fourth. 4 on the plate, fourth in the race. Andy Peach, Charlie Richardson, right with them, 49. Lovelock and Lawrence, Sierra's leader. Reuterholt and Alto, 27. Not giving up. Just how hard does this Swede ride? Look at this, 3 abreast, and Reuterholt nails 2 in one fell swoop, and this is the battle then between Lovelock and Lawrence alongside Reuterholt. They've got him back. He was ahead of them briefly. And now who's this nosing? It's Peach. What a race! What a race! How close do you want it? Lovelock and Lawrence alongside Andy Peach. Reuterholt and Alto right in the mix. Holland has been dropped away. Who's that sniffing ahead of Holland? Lorry and Neve. Round the outside, Scott Lorry and James Neve. There they are. Oh, wow. Cutting through on the inside. What a mid-pack race this is. And all for fourth. It just underlines how keen these guys are to get the points. Lovelock and Lawrence want them. They need them. They've got to build on that championship lead and put it out of sight of Tim Reeves. And talking of Tim Reeves, he is out of sight of the rest of the bunch at the front. Third place, 33. Fourth place, 49. Lovelock and Lawrence, title leaders. Fifth, Andy Peach. Sixth, well, any one of 3 outfits at 6 at the moment. Scott Lorry has got it momentarily. And yeah, and Reuterholt spun. I saw the front twitch. He's on the roof. He's on the roof in the gravel. A relatively low speed tip puts Reuterholt and Aki Alto out of the running. How did it happen? Just went in too hot, I can tell you. Reuterholt too hot, and once they're going backwards this way round, there's only going to be one outcome, and that is what it is. Aki Alto a little bit knocked about, but he's okay. Damage to the sidecar wheel arch, as you can see. Back at the front, though, Tim Reeves and Ashley Hawes glowing with that 4th World Championship win, putting their stamp on the lead of this race. Jörg Steinhausen, son of Rolf Steinhausen, of course, he's added colour and flair to this 2012 championship, and no stranger to Assen. Either of these crews, of course, will have been round here many, many times. You can see the riders' toes just poking down under the outfit where their toes actually kiss the tarmac. There it is. A fastest lap by Steinhausen and Clues, 1:42. So that's another lap record here. So they're on a charge, and they are closing on the race leader. Steinhausen and Clues then on the BMW, winding in Tim Reeves and Ashley Hawes with 1 lap. 3 and a bit miles of this terrific Assen circuit, and they are close. They're on him. Have they left it too late, though? Is there a last trick in the bucket for these boys? Rabbit from the hat, call it what you like, but they're pushing hard. The BMW very fast in a straight line, and great drive out of the corners. I said at the top of the race, about 170 brake horsepower straight out of the box. That Suzuki of Tim Reeves also very quick. we have to run with stock engine spec here in the British Championship, unlike the World Championship where they can do a bit more tuning. Is the BMW then going to find a way past Tim Reeves on this last lap? The sidecar wheel just pawing the air. Ashley Hawes doing enough and no more, giving his driver the drive he needs at the rear wheel. Through the chicane on the back of the circuit, Tim Reeves can hear the BMW booming away behind him, and he's going to ride a very, very defensive line. Ashley Hawes too, that elbow just kissing the tarmac. Just look how smooth this man is. See his toes working away underneath, just gears and brake. Right down on the tarmac, his toes, rubbing away the ends of his boots. Steinhausen then has got his head down behind the fairing, but as he left it too late, down goes Ashley Hawes, tucking in to minimise the wind resistance and maximise the slipstreaming. Oh, look how fast the BMW rider is on the brake. Steinhausen and Clues then right on him now, sprinting towards the line. Have they left it too late? Yes, they have. Reeves and Hawes get the victory. Steinhausen, it was close. After setting a lap record, he nearly nailed Tim Reeves at the flag. Confirmation then of the result, and what a great, great race it was, a sprint race. You can see 8.5 minutes long, that's all it took. Steinhausen, Hegarty, there's your top three. Lovelock, fourth from Peach. Holland did well for sixth. Horspool, what a result for him, as indeed young Steve Kershaw, he did well too. Some of the Dutch guys in there mixing it up with the British Championship regulars. They've had a lesson in F1 sidecar racing here at Assen today. And Ian Guy, Carol McBride, Roy Dalton Alto, DNFs, along with Scott Laurie and James Neve. Well, there's never a dull moment in the Eastern Airways British F1 Sidecar Championship, is there? What a fantastic race one. We're going to take another break, but don't go away. We won't be long. Join us for race 2. Welcome to the grid then for race 2, and the positions on the grid are as they were in qualifying. Because we had the Dutch contingent, we've left qualifying to determine the grid for race 2. Upside down in race 1, Johan Reuter, Holt, Naki Alto, they're fine. The other crashers, Mark Edwards, he won't start. Neither will Craig Chaplow, but here, moving through now to the second row, Sean Hegarty, Callum Lawson, a fine, fine third place for them. A fastest lap of 1:42.2 for Jörg Steinhausen and Greg Clues. That BMW is very, very rapid indeed. But on pole position, race 1 winner, Tim Reeves, Ashley Hawes. I wouldn't want to bet against a double, but this man was just 1/10 of a second off them at the finish. We've got 12 laps in this race. It's late in the day, it's a lot cooler. It is going to be a terrific race to round up round 7 here from Assen. You can't help thinking, can you, that Tim Reeves is going to do it again, but on the other hand, just how strong was Jörg Steinhausen and Greg Clues? He might just start his charge a bit earlier, the number 39 German. As the Dutch cruise towards the end of the grid make up their places, it's eyes down, look in. The red flag moving out of the way, everybody focusing on the lights. As usual, Tim Reeves leaving it to the last minute before he slots in to his race face position. Down goes the head, and away goes Steinhausen, away goes Hegarty. But at the front, it's Reeves. What a good start he got. Last season, he could not get the Honda off the line, but this year on the Suzuki, different ball game. He's having cracking starts. Scott Laurie and James Neve, a retirement in race 1. That will have dented their championship hopes. So they've got 2 more races. They've got Silverstone and they've got Brands Hatch to score points. We've got double points when we get to Brands Hatch. And of course, Ben Holland and Lee Watson, the number 60 outfit there in 4th place, can capitalise a bit on Laurie's failure in the first one. Look at them tucking down a heat haze. I said it was cooler on the start. It is cooler later in the day here, but still the tarmac holding up very well. Holland ahead of Peach, then it's Lovelock and Lawrence. Race leader though, Tim Reeves, Ashley Hawes, Steinhausen and Greg Clues just there fighting off a challenge from Sean Hegarty and Callum Lawson, third in the first race. So the top three, as you were, deja vu here in race 2. Steinhausen cannot afford to let Reeves get away, and he is letting him get away. And more to the point, he's got Hegarty, then he's got Ben Holland winding him in. Holland there, number 60. Who's behind Holland? Well, it's Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson having a good ride here. Lovelock and Lawrence, Reuter Holt and Alto. So the same top 8 here scrapping away. But Ben Holland making a break now. He needs a better ride in this one. Fourth as we speak. Oh, look at the drive. Andy Peach got out of there alongside Ben Holland on the start finish straight, and in front of Steinhausen goes Hegarty. Hegarty and Lawson. The young Callum Lawson absolutely on the crest of a wave here. Let's look at our championship leaders off the line. Who comes blasting past? Well, somebody certainly does going into the first turn. Who is it? It's Andy Peach one side, Ben Holland the other. So a bit tentative there on the brakes into the first turn for Roger Lovelock. Cost him 2 places. Second place, number 33, Sean Hegarty. World Championship class runner, Sean Hegarty. He's a former British champion and a former regular in the world in previous years. Now reborn in the world. Oh, who was that? Was Steinhausen shot wide there? And that cost him. He shot wide and lost a couple of lengths. A little bit too hot into the turn, Jorg Steinhausen. Away at the front, Tim Reeves and Ashley Hawes out of sight. And doing themselves no favours in terms of publicity, because this is where the action is. The battle for second place. Hegarty and Lawson have got it. Steinhausen and Greg Clues want it. And they've gelled together very well. Runners-up in the world, the BMW. Mr. Hegarty Senior on pit wall looking, and there's John Lawson, of course, looking for their boys to go one step better on the podium. Hegarty and Lawson, they are easing away. The German very, very focused there, but he knows he's got a race on his hands because we've got a couple of class acts here. Steinhausen looking, but all the time he's scrapping with Hegarty. You can see the gap there. 1:41.8, Tim Reeves. Another fastest lap and another lap record here. The pace a little bit too hot for some of our local Dutch crews, and a retirement, whether that's mechanical or physical, I have no idea, but the number 10 outfit out of the running. Meanwhile, it's all British boys at the front. The Eastern Airways British F1 Sidecar Championship just proving what a talent we have. Strength in depth. Scott Laurie and James Neve are right in the mix this time. Hopefully they can bring it home to the finish. Lovelock and Lawrence past Peach on the inside. Now they've settled. These boys regaining their composure. They are ahead of the chasing bunch, up into 4th place. 5th then is Peach. 6th is Laurie. In pit wall, we've got the times. We can see the action unfold on the track, and a good nucleus of spectators are watching this race too. We have a strong sidecar following here in Holland, another one of the countries to have a good national championship. But not as quick as our boys, and not as quick as Andy Peach, who goes up inside Roger Lovelock again to reclaim that 4th place. Just like race 1, this is where the battle is. Oh, going wide again, Andy Peach, closing up on the inside, Lovelock and Lawrence. Andy Peach tends to go in a little bit hot, as I said, last of the late breakers, but sometimes he almost pays a heavy price for it. Leaves the door wide open. A bit more grunt from Lovelock and he'd have been through there, but Peach's bike fast in a straight line. Charlie Richardson tucking down, and this, the view that Roger Lovelock has, is their away pass. Shadowing him, his every move, the lefts, the rights. Charlie Richardson rode in the Isle of Man TT on an F2 outfit this year, so a very talented passenger who puts himself about a bit in the nicest sense of the phrase. Oh, using all the track and more, including the tarmac, but we're up the inside now. Championship leaders Lovelock and Lawrence holding it, drifting it. Oh, great undertaking move there, and drove wide, leaving Andy Peach nowhere to go. Steinhausen climbing all over the back of Sean Hegarty and Callum Lawson. A quick glance back from the young Nottinghamshire passenger. Lawson glanced over his shoulder to see the German's eyes menacingly through the visor. Hegarty looking focused. He's going to have to really keep the door closed here. Oh, there again, that's Scott Lorry and James Neave coming past under Lovelock. So just when he thought he'd done enough to clinch fourth, no way, Jose. Through came the Scot, the very determined Scot. This is the battle for the championship lead. 72 in second place in the title chase. 49, the series leader. Andy Peach out of the running for overall honours in the championship this year. Unlike last year, fourth last year, and a little bit out of touch this year, not having had his best season. Welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed that cup of tea. I've topped up my glass of water, and rightfully so. These guys, nothing further from their minds. They're intent on one thing, chasing hard. Steinhausen and Hegarty side by side, but Steinhausen swept by majestically. The superior power of the BMW coming into its own there. Now Steinhausen has put Hegarty in his place, or has he? Because Sean Hegarty is a fighter. All the way down the piece, he is a fighter. Only having had 2 racing incidents in terms of crashes in his entire career, you can see how smooth this man is. Gregory Clues from Bordeaux climbing, lanky Frenchman, climbing all over the back of the BMW. And look at this fantastic scrap. It's a 12-wheeler for 4th place. Scott Lorry in the lead of this bunch, 72. Then it's Roger Lovelock, who still needs to rack up consistent points. Andy Peach a little bit off the back of them, having his own battle with Johan Reuterholt. And Ben Holland and Lee Watson, they've been in the mix all the way through this Assen weekend, but not quite fast enough to run in the top 4. Scott Lorry, James Neave then. As I said, this is the battle for the championship, and Lovelock knows it, and knows it very well, and clips through there beautifully, just lifts that place very nicely from under the nose of Scott Lorry. We have a tail ender ahead. Can Scott Lorry throw the back marker to Roger Lovelock? He's certainly going to give it a very, very good try. Scott Lorry then sweeping through, and there's the tail ender. He's past him. Lovelock's through as well. So is Peach, and so is Reuterholt, because the Dutchman moves respectfully to the left-hand side of the circuit. Look at the gap now between our second place 39 BMW of Steinhausen and Hegarty. They're in a 3rd place podium position again, just as they achieved in race 1. Now the battle for 4th. You can see how far back these guys are from the top trio. Lorry and Neave then, 72. More Dutchmen ahead of them. In 4th place, then it's Lovelock and Lawrence, 49. Lorry and Neave past the tail ender. Lovelock and Lawrence past the tail ender. Yes, that back marker then falling into the sight line, really, of Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson. Slowed them down a little bit, let the 4th place battle get away. Can Lovelock do anything? Can he get 13 points? He's in an 11-point position at the moment. 13 will do for 4th. If he can get to 3rd, it'll be 16. But Ian Guy and Carol McBride on the grass, out of the running. So their Assen weekend comes to a conclusion, it's fair to say, but safely out of harm's way. At the front of the race, Tim Reeves and Ashley Halls. Another demonstration of high-speed Formula One sidecar racing from the 4-times world champion. The flame on the overlap, unburnt fuel spitting out of the exhaust as he knocks it off there into the turn, and scything through the tail enders. Back markers abound here. Big grids. We started the day with 36 sidecar outfits, the biggest entry we've ever had in the Eastern Airways British F1 Sidecar Championship. We had to whittle that down to 30 for qualifying, and now you've got the best of the bunch right at the top here. 1:41 and a bit, another lap record for Tim Reeves and Ashley Hawes. Fastest lap of the weekend. The sidecar wheel just kicking up over the curb, going past Roger Body and Carl Schofield. So they've been lapped. The Santander Salt outfit resplendent in its blue livery. And now Roger Body getting a riding lesson from Tim Reeves, and there's none better, I have to say. This, the battle then for fourth place, Laurie and Neve. Still holding that advantage from Lovelock and Lawrence, and they need the points. Sitting there at the moment in fifth place in an 11-point position. 13 for fourth and 16 points for third, but I think these crews now are sufficiently far off the pace, really not to scrap for the podium, but they are scrapping for the overall British Championship, and this is where the battle is. Lovelock and Lawrence know full well they need to keep racking up the points after a very unsuccessful weekend at Donington, where it all went wrong, a variety of fuel problems, and then a helmet visor restricting the airflow to the radiator, causing them still further problems in race 2. Add to that a bit of a wobbly fuel pump, and all was not good. Andy Peach, number 4 there, still very much in touch. But Scott Laurie and James Neve, the lanky James Neve, I said Greg Clue's probably the tallest passenger, but I think that accolade will go to James Neve. From Lincoln, he's well over 6 feet, but moves around the outfit very well indeed. There he is, using that bulk to great effect, and can get himself right over on the right-hander. Rick Lawrence, all we can see of Rick Lawrence is the friction device on his left cheek of his buttock there, and that's designed so when he's hanging out of the sidecar, he doesn't rub his flesh away. He's actually got a knee slider on his backside, which makes life a lot more comfortable for him. And now they're fighting back, these two, Lovelock and Lawrence, desperate to find a way past Laurie and Neve, and they have found a way past up the inside, and they're going to make it stick if they don't run in too hot and too wide. At the chicane onto the start-finish straight, up they go to fourth place again. What a great out. Look how fast Laurie's bike is. He's alongside Lovelock on the last lap then. 3 and a bit miles of Assen to do for the Scot. 72 on the bike, and he's alongside, but he's the long way round. Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson just watching this unfold in front of them, waiting to pick up the pieces like a dog sitting at the table waiting for the meat to drop off, and no meat fell off Roger Lovelock's plate at that particular bend, although Scott Laurie came pretty close to making it happen. Roger Lovelock then riding a defensive line, but Scott Laurie is alongside, and he's taken it again from the man from Marlborough. The Two Wheels TV sponsored outfit, number 49, green there. Championship leaders, what a great season they've had in 2012, but Scott Laurie and James Neve have always been there threatening, and they're doing it yet again here in Assen. All the way down from Kirkliston near Edinburgh, right in the flight path of Edinburgh Airport. Scott Laurie, Tim Reeves, Ashley Hawes taking a sublime victory here from Steinhausen and Clues, and waiting now for Hegarty to come through. Sean Hegarty, Callum Lawson, a distant third, but it's final step on the podium. This is where the battle is, and over the line goes Scott Laurie and James Neve, fist in the air from Andy Peach. What a great scrap that was for that fourth place. 5 outfits involved, all the way to the flag, but a terrific double here. Fastest man all weekend, pole position, a clean sweep in both races. Reeves and Hawes, it was a 20-minute race, and they will know they've had a battle with Jorg Steinhausen and Clues. Hegarty and Lawson, there's your podium. Laurie, Lovelock, Reuterholt, Peach, Holland. What a scrap that was. 9th for Ricky Stevens. Steve Kershaw, Rob Wilson followed up their race 1 result with a brilliant 12th. Good result from Horsepole and Biggs again. The Brits acquitted themselves very well. Couple of DNFs, and we saw the retirement of Ian Guy and Carol McBride. They stopped on the grass. Sean Hegarty, Callum Lawson, another fantastic scrap. What a good one that was.
I did enjoy it, but I just need some more speed. It's so soul-destroying. You try hard, and on the straight, you just can't win. No, really bad, horrible.
I had Kees Endervelt in the commentary box with me doing that one, and he said, you've got to do the Worlds, all of them.
Yeah, I'd love to, but the thing is, the British Championship's good, but he wants to do the Worlds then, so we are. We'll definitely do the Worlds then. But we're definitely going to concentrate on one championship and try and progress in that and do well, and then do a few of the others to support a championship a bit.
Well, a terrific race. Runners up again. They'd love to be on the top step of the podium, but this time the gap was a little bit wider. Still a great race. Congratulations, Jorg.
Thank you very much. We had problems with the front, harsh vibrations. Didn't feel safe though. Mid-race I thought we have to pull in, but kept going and finished second at least, which is good for us under these circumstances, and I look forward to Silverstone.
Tim Reeves, Ashley Halls. Tim, a fantastic weekend for you. I can see you've got the right cap on this time.
Yeah, you've got to keep the sponsors happy, Barry. Yeah, over the moon, mate. What a result. Yeah, we bunged a new front tyre on it and it worked good, and I'm over the moon to break into a sub 142 lap. Do a 41.8 was yeah, great. Excellent job by Assen. It's nice to be back in the British paddock, being world champions, and we've got to massively thank everyone who's helped us. Really, all our sponsors. It's without them we couldn't be here. H&S Contractors, Gunter Reuschling. A massive thanks to DFDS Seaways for this trip, because they helped us out at the end of the season when budgets were tight. And yeah, massive thanks to everyone really, my dad and the family, and over the moon with it all. Hopefully we can win a few more races.
Well, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence will be looking over their shoulders because it's still on. Tim Reeves could still do it. 150 points there are available. Holland and Laurie were there scrapping for second place in the title. Reuter Holt there in fifth. What a great season he's had. And some of our guys, Gary Horspool and Rob Biggs, really, really well. John Clark and Stuart Graham there too. The BMW of Bygrave and Napton, sadly, going backwards a bit. Wasn't here this weekend. And everybody's got some points. I often say it, what a great season this is. The spread of talent all the way there. All done and dusted then from here in Holland. We're off now for round 8. Penultimate round comes from Silverstone. We're going straight there. Please join us for round 8.